This truly has been a wonderful collaboration between the Assembly, the Senate, ourselves, as well as the governor. I believe that we worked very well together as responsible stewards of the taxpayer dollar, focused on long-term economic growth for our great state of California. This is a budget that strikes a very fine balance between strengthening our long-term fiscal foundation and investing right now in the economy of today, but just as importantly, the workforce of tomorrow. This is a historic day. This is a historic day given the fact that we are the first legislative body. We are the first state in the union to invest in children without legal status. With this budget, we're saying that immigrants matter. We're saying that immigrants matter irrespective of who you are and where you come from. And that's why this is a very important day. This is also a very strong message to the members of Congress, specifically the Republicans, who have, as to date, dithered in Washington, D.C., and not have moved forward with comprehensive immigration reform. To our Republican friends in Washington, D.C., we have a message. Because of your inaction, there are financial consequences that are paid throughout the country. And that's why what we're doing in California makes fiscal prudence. We're making sure that we invest the right amount of dollars for preventative care for these young children so that we don't continue to pay heavily on the back end. And that's our reality today because of the lack of action in Washington, D.C. Secondly, also too, we have a new position within the governor's office, which is the Director of Immigration Coordination Services. We'll get into a little more detail in that. And lastly, also, we have a commitment of $15 million to coordinate all the multitude of programs that exist and will exist in the state of California, particularly as it relates to DAPA and DACA. Although they are currently being tied up in court right now at the U.S. Federal court level, we expect soon a legal decision that will allow these programs to move forward. With that, I'm just going to share a few words in Spanish, and then I'm going to introduce my colleague who played a very instrumental role in making sure that these measures come to fruition within the context of our state budget. Quisiera nomás compartir algunas palabras muy breves en español. Este día es un día histórico, no solamente para los latinos, pero sino para todos los inmigrantes, no solamente aquí, la séptima potencia mundial, sino también a lo largo ancho de este gran país, los Estados Unidos de América. Hoy día celebramos en el presupuesto del Estado de California, el Estado dorado, cuidado médico para todos los jóvenes, para todos los niños indocumentados. Y hoy día mandamos un mensaje bastante duro y directo a los republicanos en el Congreso en Washington, D.C. Que nuestra gente quiere una reforma migratoria integral, no en el futuro, no mañana, sino hoy día, presente. Debido a la falta de acciones concretas y proactivas por parte de los republicanos en Washington, D.C., habrán consecuencias fiscales a lo largo y ancho del Estado de California y todo el país. Porque tarde o temprano nosotros como contribuyentes tenemos que pagar la deuda de las enfermedades de estos jóvenes que son inocentes, que llegaron a este país con sus padres en busca de una vida mejor. Y hoy día lo que estamos haciendo es vamos a invertir en un programa muy especial de cuidado médico para estos súper jovenazos, estos niños inocentes, que hoy día valoramos estos niños inocentes, inmigrantes, que son seres humanos que merecen dignidad y respeto. Hoy día aprobamos el presupuesto de acuerdo con el gobernador y los líderes de ambas cámaras, la Cámara Alta del Senado y la Cámara Baja de la Asamblea, con un paquete de reformas al respecto del pueblo latino e inmigrante asiático aquí en el Estado de California. Y quisiera yo presentar a mi colega, el presidente de la Comisión de Finanzas, del Senado del Estado de California jugó un papel muy importante, un papel muy crucial en promover el cuidado médico para los jóvenes, niños inocentes, inmigrantes, y también un papel muy importante en establecer una oficina, el director de asuntos migratorios para el Estado de California. I'm going to present right now my colleague, the chair of the Appropriations Committee, an individual who played a crucial role, a key role in establishment of health care for these young children in the state of California, a young man who played a crucial role in establishing the first office of its kind in the state of California, in state government, at the executive level, Director of Immigrant Affairs in the state of California, and that is Senator Ricardo Lara.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Today really marks a historic beginning for immigrants in this country from all over the world that come to California to not only give of their hard work, but also contribute their talents to our global economy. And it really goes to show that California once again paves the way when Washington, D.C. continues to create roadblocks for these communities. And I'm not going to be as PC as our pro tem, and I'm going to blame both Republicans and Democrats. Because when we had the opportunity to do this, we should have done this a long time ago. We continue to play with the lives of millions of immigrants, ripping apart their families, and in many sense, self-deporting hundreds of U.S. children who are now forced to go back to their parents' countries, not knowing how they're going to survive or how they're going to continue with their education. And so I think this modest investment in healthcare will be transformational in the lives of not only kids but the families, and it would also allow us to save hundreds of millions of dollars in very limited care that we currently spend now in our emergency rooms. So it's not only the right thing to do, it's a common sense approach to addressing the high cost of healthcare which we're currently paying in our emergency rooms. I want to take a second on behalf of those families, and I don't have to thank our pro tem because he's been a champion since day one on this issue, but really thank the governor, thank the Assembly and my colleagues in the Senate, and of course our pro tem for never wavering on this important issue of providing much needed comprehensive health care to our children. This sets the framework for a future battle to include all immigrants, but this is a good beginning. And I want to commend the leadership of both houses and of course our governor, who continues to set the trend in terms of being one of the most immigrant-friendly governors in our country, understanding their contribution to our great state. The stories abound of how current children with no access to any type of comprehensive health care continue to suffer. We've heard stories up and down the state. Most recently, we heard one of a child being hit by young teenager being hit by a car and not being able to access, not wanting to put their family through any type of medical burden. So they went without any care, and to this day continues to suffer the aftermath of this accident. And this is what's really happening in the richest country, in the richest state in our country, in the most powerful state in our union. That we cannot, continue with this happening. This is, I think, SB 4 will help alleviate these situations that for many of us in this room, we take for granted. These are real problems that people face, having to decide whether to put food on their table or seek some sort of medical attention. And that cannot happen. And I want to thank, again, the leadership of both houses for addressing this critical issue. And I think, what we've done today reaffirms that in California, we not only value our immigrants, but we understand the contributions that they make to our economy. And many of them go without even having to reap the benefits of getting a tax break like many of us do. They work in the most gut-wrenching jobs. They are often subjugated to abuse and neglect, and often go without pay over the fear of them being deported by, being outed by their employers. And so this is the least we can do to a community that continues to contribute not only to our social welfare, but to our economy, give them an opportunity to allow their kids to see a doctor, so that they can actually go to school, continue to be able to be productive members of our society, and do everything that we ask them to be. We want them to go to school, we want them to better their lives, and this is just gonna be another key issue in allowing them to do just that. And, you know, the California Endowment has done an amazing job of highlighting this issue when it comes to understanding that, you know, these kids may not have been born in California, but California was born in these children. And they really epitomize the American dream. In regards to the office of the new statewide office of the Director of Immigrant Integration, again, California setting itself apart, ensuring that we have an individual that is going to be able to put together a statewide strategy of how we move forward to continue to integrate our immigrant population, how we address the myriad of bills that we've passed over the several years, and ensure that we no longer have a patchwork of different programs to address immigrant integration throughout the state, that we have one program, one strategy that's going to help our local municipalities address the issues, especially for our larger cities, especially up and down the Central Valley, where we continue to see these large immigrant populations continuing to flourish. And so it is imperative that we move forward. And I want to thank, again, our Pro Tem on a very aggressive budget that really understands that we need to invest in human capital. And when we say we want to invest in every Californian, we truly mean that. And that includes our undocumented community. So I thank you again, Mr. Pro Tem, for your time.